What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another fantasy football video, and this one is going to be the top 5 players to avoid in the 2016 fantasy football season. And I didn't even realize it when I was making the list. I have 3 Panthers to start, 5, 3, whoa, I can almost count, 5, 4, and 3, and I did not realize it, but I think that speaks to value, and fantasy football is a game of value. And would I like everyone on this list, would I like to have my team? Yes. But at the point that you need to take them so early, the value just isn't there. Would I like to have Kelvin Benjamin? Yes. Would I like to have Cam Newton, who's going to be number 3 on this list? Yes. But where I need to take them, I absolutely do not want, and I advise you not to take them. Kelvin Benjamin is going 17th for wide receivers, 40th overall. I have him as wide receiver 28. Would I like him as my wide receiver 4? Yes, but you need to take him potentially as a wide receiver 2, and I don't think the value is there. The value is not there in the 4th round. Would that be the 4th round? 40th overall? I guess it depends how big your team or your league is. But that's the beginning of the 4th round. I just don't see the value in taking him there. 46th percentile college dominance rating. He really wasn't that amazing in college. He had barely over 1,000 yards for Florida State. He had a decent amount of touchdowns, but touchdowns are fluky, and he did only have one good year for Florida State, I believe. He barely got 1,008 yards his rookie year, and again, he had a decent amount of touchdowns, but touchdowns are fluky. You look at 6th percentile breakout age. He didn't break out until he was relatively old in the college game. A negative 3.5 production premium was 58th in the league. He had a 50% catch rate. That has been a big problem with him. He does drop the ball. He was 87th in the league in catch rate. 22.2% red zone catch rate. He was not reliable in the red zone. 43.3% contested catch rate. 41st in the league. 1.55 fantasy points per target. 60th in the league. Only 182 total yards after the catch, was 70th in the league. All these numbers are from playerprofile.com, and they're from his rookie year, obviously not last year. He just wasn't reliable in the red zone. He had, I believe, 9 touchdowns total, but only 4 came in the red zone. I think Cam is going to realize that he drops the ball in significant situations in the red zone, and he has more reliable options. He has Greg Olsen. He's got Devin Funchess. So he's got other options that if Benjamin does drop passes in the red zone, he's going to shy away from them. I do think there's touchdown regression coming, and if there is, he's a guy that's basically going to get like 1,100 yards max. So if he sees touchdown regression like Mike Evans did down to like 3 or 4 touchdowns, he will not be worth that high of a pick. He will only be worth like a 6th or 7th round pick. And right now you need to get him early 4th, which I don't see the value in that. So the next guy, also on the Panthers, is Jonathan Stewart. And he's currently going at running back 15, 40th overall. Basically, he's going at the same spot that Kelvin Benjamin is. I have him as running back 32. The last time he played a full season was 2011, so he's super injury prone. He's 29 years old, so he's getting up there in age. He had the perfect situation last year. They were dominating teams. They could run the ball late. They scored a bunch of points. He got under 1,000 yards and finished 16th in fantasy points. He isn't involved in the pass game, so his floor is lower than other running backs are. When you're involved in the pass game, you can get 2, 3, 4 catches in a game, your floor is lower because that's, in PPR it's more, but even in standard, you're getting 2 or 3 points as a floor without even getting rushing yards. He doesn't have that floor. His floor is a lot lower because he's not involved in the pass game. He had a negative 12.4 production premium last year, 59th in the league, 0.63 fantasy points per opportunity, 68th in the league, 4.2 yards for touch and 4.1 yards a carry, both were underwhelming. The 4th round, this sentence basically describes what I feel about Jonathan Stewart. The 4th round is not where you want to take an aging, often injured, declining running back. Okay? Your 4th round needs to be a solid pick. It can't be a guy that's often injured, that's on the decline, and to top it all off is a running back who's aging. The running back positions always get replaced, always get injured. This is just not a guy you want to take with your early 4th round pick. So that's my spiel on that. The last Panther that we'll talk about today is Cam Newton, the MVP of the NFL. But look at where he's going. I didn't even realize this. His ADP right now is as quarterback 1, which is respectable. I mean, I can see him being quarterback 1. I have Rodgers 1, and I have him at 2. But if someone wanted to take him first, I don't think that's outrageous. But he's going 14th overall, and that's the beginning of the second round. I have him as 6th round value. So if he's there in the 6th round, yeah, I'll take him because I like him. I mean, he's a good player, but not as a second round pick. You should. I don't care how good your quarterback is. You should not take a quarterback in the first 3 rounds. I mean, I'm probably going to be in about 10 leagues this year, and the earliest I can see myself taking a quarterback is probably around 10. Most of the leagues will probably be around 12 or 13, unless there is a massive quarterback taking where like everyone's taking like 2 and 3 quarterbacks for some stupid reason. I'll never take more than 1 quarterback on my team, but you just don't draft quarterbacks early. The value isn't there. I mean, he would need to produce last year's monster numbers to warrant a second round pick, and he's not going to get 10 rushing touchdowns again. I mean, touchdowns are so fluky, less for quarterbacks, but rushing are. And I don't think he's going to get 10 rushing touchdowns again. It's just not going to happen. I mean, would you rather have A.J. Green to start your draft or Cam Newton? Because A.J. Green, you can get probably in the early second round and pair him up with Winston, with Stafford, with Tyrod Taylor if you really want running quarterbacks. But the guy that you're going to get late is like Vincent Jackson or Tavon Austin. I mean, you're not going to get someone like an A.J. Green in the later rounds, whereas there's really not much of a difference between Cam Newton and Tyrod Taylor and Winston, all their numbers per game. Yes, it looks great at the end of the year that he has a lot of points, but if you go to a per game basis, Tyrod Taylor finished 18th for quarterback last year. So even if you were literally the worst streamer in the entire fantasy football player ever, you're the worst streaming quarterback options every single week, you could finish higher than 18th. I mean, it's fairly easy to stream quarterbacks in the NFL, especially this year when there's so many good options. So even if you were dreadful week to week, you could finish like 15th or so. And if you finished 18th last year, you're only 6 points a game behind Cam Newton. So the value just isn't there drafting him in the second round. That's all I have to say about the Panthers. We're finally done with the Panthers because basically there's no one else you'd talk about. Olsen's Mr. Reliable. I can never knock him. If you want to take Greg Olsen, go ahead. But number 2 is Laquan Treadwell. And Laquan Treadwell is the perfect example of someone people screw up when they think of their late round draft pick. You need upside. You need super upside with your late round picks because it doesn't matter if you drop them, but you don't want a guy that has a capped offense. And he has the most capped offense and the most capped position in the NFL. He is on the Vikings, who had the lowest passing volume of any team in the league, and he's the number 3 option. He is most likely going to open the season as number 3 option and may not even start the season on the active roster, or even maybe he'll be on the active roster, but he won't be put into the game. Last year, Diggs was a rookie, and he missed the first 3 weeks, healthy scratch. They just wanted to slowly get him in, and that's what they said they want to do with Treadwell this year. Maybe he won't miss 3 weeks, maybe it'll be 2 weeks, but you don't want to draft a guy in the 10th round that's probably not going to start. He's a rookie, so he needs to learn the offense, and he's playing on the team with the lowest passing volume in the NFL by a significant margin. They do not throw the ball. I mean, for him to be fantasy relevant, he'd need to get like half of Teddy Bridgewater's passes, which isn't going to happen. He just doesn't have any upside. Now, he's different from Sammy Coates because Sammy Coates, I talked about in the other video, I'm not sold on Sammy Coates' tape. I am sold a little bit on Treadwell. I think he's a talented receiver. He looks very athletic, but then he also looks like he has good football intelligence and football skills, whereas some other receivers, they have all the athletic abilities. They just don't look like they can be an elite wide receiver. Treadwell looks like he could be a great wide receiver. It's just he doesn't have the opportunity that a lot of other people have. So in your late round picks, especially in the 10th round, that's not even super late. You want to get upside plays, and Treadwell just isn't an upside play. But the number 1 guy that I am avoiding, and it may surprise some of you, is Sterling Shepard. I think he's just being overvalued right now. The main thing that everyone looks at when they're saying, oh, I want to draft this guy, is that he's behind Odell. And that should be a knock on him more than a benefit. Everyone thinks that Odell is going to get like quadruple covered every play, and that's going to leave him wide open. But I mean, when has that ever been true? I mean, are we saying that about Marcus Wheaton? No. And Antonio Brown's better than Odell is. Are we saying that about Mohamed Sanu? No, we're not. So why are we saying it about Sterling Shepard, a guy that has an average college dominator rating, a late breakout age, so he wasn't even good in college until basically his senior year, and that's when he was playing against people who were like 2-3 years younger than him. He has a below average height adjusted speed score. He's only 5'10", and he's not super fast. And it's just he's going to be behind Odell. He's going to be the number 2, potentially even number 3 target, and I just don't see him as such an elite wide receiver that he's going to draw volume away when he's not wide open. And I don't think he's going to be as wide open as people make it out to be. You know, Odell is that good that he can beat double coverage. And football doesn't work where you say 4 guys go guard Odell. Like, that's not how it works. So thinking that they're just going to have everyone focus on Odell and then Sterling Shepard's going to be wide open, that's just wrong. Like, it's not going to happen. So I'm avoiding him just at his ADP, like 9th round. I don't feel like he's worth any more than an 11th or 12th round pick maybe, just because I don't see the upside there. Like, he doesn't have the upside of a number 2 wide receiver. Whereas guys going behind him like Stephon Diggs, Vincent Jackson, Corey Coleman, Philip Dorsett, they all have much more upside than Sterling Shepard does. And yet they're going 1 to 2 rounds behind him. I just don't understand. Like, Corey Coleman is much more athletic than Sterling Shepard is, and he could be the number 1 on a team versus Shepard's the clear number 2. But that's the end of this video. These are my top 5 guys I'm avoiding. If you watched this far, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.